the changes to the panel
Yes.
over time. Maybe you should make that point.
Yes. When we look at the selection, or let's look at the 3 sets of advertisements where the panels that are recommended to head office to approve. The recommendations that's sent, they all were approved without any changes. So it flows through. So your recommendation that you sent, that's the panel, head office approves it. So not one of those 3 was it not approved. That's the point I want to take. So normally to reach out, meaning that the recommendation that you make, it is very rare that head office is going to change it. Put it that way. Taking it from the 3, you could see the pattern that is not changed. So that is just what I want to say.
But you're not saying that's a problem of General Khumalo?
It's not a problem because it's approved by head office.
Okay.
Unless, there's something else there. So let's take it as the panel is approved by head office. It's an approved panel.
Yes. Okay.
Colonel, in your affidavit where you applied for warrants of arrest, you took issue with the constitution of the panel. IDAC inserted itself in the panel process, and IDAC said, why was Khan not put in the panel? Why was so-and-so put in the panel and not General Khan? Why does IDAC have that difficulty? Why is it IDAC's business who should or should not be in the panel that interviews at crime intelligence? Why is it IDAC's business?
Can I respond?
Yes.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Commissioner. Sorry, Commissioner, I thought you were raising your hand. We are charged with an investigation. And we draw that inference from the investigation that we're charged with. So when you look at the panel is recommended by Khumalo, it's chosen by him there. Although he does, that's what we are speaking to. The panel is not chosen by anybody else at that office. Like, who can we say?
No, we know who chose it.
He chose the panel.
The problem is,
so
yes.
what we are saying there is that he chose that particular panel and sent it for recommendation, and it was approved. And the issue we have there with it is that there was other crime intelligence generals that he could have used to sit on the panel, because it's a sensitive crime intelligence post. It's a covert post.
But
and
is that not for General Nkua and General Sibia to say, I'm not happy with this panel or I'm happy with it? If they are happy with it and they approve it, what business is it of IDAC to say, we would have preferred Khan there and not that person? Why does IDAC involve itself in those things? IDAC does not constitute panels that interview candidates in crime intelligence. Why does IDAC go to court and say to court, I want warrants of arrest issued because I'm not happy that in that panel that general was there and General Khan was not there? Why is it the business of IDAC?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Commissioner. The panel was one of many reasons, many causes in the application. It's not just only the panel.
Let's talk about the panel.
Yes.
No, don't discuss the others. Commissioner Khumalo is raising specifically the constitution of the panel, and that in your application for a warrant, it was important enough, and in your charge sheet, it was important enough that you mention it, that one of the problems or one of the issues is that they didn't include other generals, and you specify General Khan. You don't mention anyone else. You say, like General Khan, and the question remains, why does it matter to IDAC? What business of IDAC is it that SAPS senior managers have approved the constitution of this panel? Where do you come in as IDAC?
Chair, Commissioners, this is the response that I can give to it. It follows through from my investigation. Although I am saying to you, the panel has been approved by head office, but the recommendation of that particular panel started with General Khumalo. So it's one of the inferences drawn from the
How can you draw an inference when the prescripts give him the power to constitute a panel? what inference can you ever draw from the constitution of a panel? If the prescript says the power lies with Khumalo to constitute his panel, what inference is there to draw when he does exactly that which the prescript does? And in this case, you're not drawing an inference of anything. There are no facts on which you draw an inference that is problematic.
Yes.
You actually say, well, he should not have included, I think it's Gabela, he should have put in other crime intelligence officers.
Yes.
For example, General Khan, quite interestingly, you say, for example, General Khan. The question is, what does IDAC care that General Khumalo has proposed, recommended a panel, which his superior, General Sibiya, has approved, and you don't arrest General Sibiya for approving. General Nkua approves, you do not arrest them. You don't include them in your list of the people who did wrong about constituting the panel. The bottom line is, why is it IDAC's business when General Khumalo constitutes a panel that he is allowed to do by the prescript, which doesn't say it must be constituted by people from crime intelligence? It doesn't. So you make up your law or your rules or your policy and say there should have been only people from crime intelligence because that's a sensitive area. Where do you, what's your standing to prescribe that? And I would like you to answer that question. Commissioner Khumalo asked the question, what is your business in how SAPS prescripts, because this is provided by prescript, in what SAPS prescripts allow, and in this case was complied with, superiors approved. What is IDAC's business and interest in constituting SAPS panels? You can answer if you have an answer.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Commissioners.
Colonel, if I may, Commissioner, perhaps let's go to the charge sheet and see how you had expressed yourself in that charge sheet in the context of this question. If we could go to file 6, if we're not already, file 6. We dealt from page 2373. That is your affidavit in support of an application for a warrant of arrest.
Page again, I'm sorry.
2373. In that affidavit, in support of that application for warrant of arrest, you do make a number of points, including, no, it's not point 1, definitely. It's late in the day.
Document advocacy.
Is the approved selection, 7, 370.7, not point 1. Point 7, right? Okay, thanks. And you recall yesterday the engagement you had with Commissioner Khumalo about the selection panel. You testified at length that this panel was constituted by Khumalo, and Commissioner Baloyi wanted to understand about, no, I asked you, no, she asked you a different question. I asked whether or not that panel had been approved by a higher authority, higher than Khumalo, and if it was so approved, whether then is it appropriate to say that it was constituted by Khumalo, because it's subject to approval or rejection by the higher authority. And I look at page 200. And on this particular page, at 201, it's signed again by El Nkua, Lieutenant General, Acting Deputy National Commissioner, Support Services, dated the 6th of June 2024. At page 200, one sees that, and it reads, approval is hereby granted for the following selection panels to conduct the selection processes for the indicated posts. The first bullet point relates to some posts. The second bullet point highlighted in yellow is our post. So in both cases, the selection panels were approved. Do you agree?
Yes, I agree.
So I would suggest that there were legitimate panels put forward to who I take to be the final decision maker, General Nkua Support Services, who had the authority to reject the proposed panel or to accept it or to recommend amendments and changes. So at the end of the day, she had the final say as to who constitutes the panel.
Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner, Chair, Commissioners, the request or election of the panel, when you look at A1 on page 200,
Yes.
page 200,
Yes.
when you look at A1, this A is the Divisional Commissioner Crime Intelligence. So this letter is coming from the Divisional Commissioner or addressed to the Divisional Commissioner Crime Intelligence. So it's saying to you, your office information note 451 volume 49, signed by the Deputy National Commissioner Crime Detection refers, right?
Yes.
There is a letter, or rather, the panels are not, requested from crime intelligence, meaning these are the people that, they request to be on the panels. So it's a request from crime intelligence, General Khumalo. These are the people that I select for the different posts and panels, and it is sent to Head Office Human Resources, and it gets approved there. So the approval of the panel takes place there, and the acting Deputy National Commissioner at that time was General Nkua. She approved it.
Yes.
Yes.
So the only point I sought to make that it's not correct to say Khumalo constituted this panel, conducted interviews, and ended up recommending Mrs. Mukwele and suggesting that there was anything wrong with the constitution of the panel. And I say so because the proposed panel, which I accept would have been put together by General Khumalo, was approved by the right authority within SAPS, which would be Lieutenant General Nkua in this case.
That's correct, Counsel.
Yes.
But must emphasize the point. Panel was selected at Crime Intelligence Office. Panel was selected by him. It was not approved by him.
Yes.
So let's get that clear.
Yes.
The panel was selected by General Khumalo, sent to approval for Head Office, because he cannot sit or have those panels without approval. Head Office must approve it. So that's basically the standard procedure. You nominate who you want on your panel and send it to Head Office. But the emphasis on the panel was selected by General Khumalo he recommended it for approval to Head Office.
Can I just ask, Colonel, that it was recommended by General Khumalo, is that not in accordance with SAPS protocols that he, as the head of crime intelligence, would constitute or recommend a panel? Yes. You accept that to be? I don't know it to be the position. I'm asking you because you've done the investigation. Is the constitution or the recommendation of a list by General Khumalo, who is the head of crime intelligence, is that contrary to SAPS prescripts?
No, it's not. It's as I explained, it's normal. You're the head of office, you select the panel. Yes. These are the people on the panel, and it goes to Head Office for election. It's normal.
So we can't make anything of that fact alone. You can't just say, as you were doing yesterday, you can't just say, it seems to me, you can't just say, he constituted the panel, therefore, or he recommended the panel, therefore, that's a sign of capture. The people that he constituted it means it's an indicator, rather, of a plan to capture crime intelligence. It doesn't go that far. If the prescript allows him to recommend a panel, there's nothing wrong with that.
If the prescripts allows him, yes, Commissioner.
And
that's
you
my
say,
answer.
and you accept that the prescript allowed him to do that?
Yes, the prescripts gives him that authority to choose that panel and then send it for approval. And I think that is more or less what I meant yesterday. Not that he approved his own panel and carried on. That panel had to be approved by Head Office. Thank you.
Can I just check this for clarification also? In that A1, it refers to an information note by the Deputy National Commissioner Crime Detection on 14 May 2024. So who would that be at the time? It wasn't General Khumalo.
The Deputy National Commissioner Crime Detection
Would be Sibia, would be
will
General
will be
Sibia.
Sibia, under which the Division Crime Intelligence reports.
Yes.
So basically, General Khumalo would have selected his panels,
Yes,
and then it would have went to Deputy National Commissioner Sibia to sign off, and the approval comes from the head office. That's the tier there.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloyi. And if we could just run forward then to page 453, page 453 under CJC 371.3. Starting at page 4193713. Starting at page 41937.1, that now is the pack for the recruitment process in 2022. And just to compare with the approval process that we've just discussed, this is what transpired in 2022. And in 2022, we see once again, it's the same. And at item 2, its approval is granted for the following selection panels. Now, if you flip through that document to the end, if I did not mention, I forget if I did, but this is dated 2023, my mistake. This is for the 2023 process. At 457, it's signed by El Ntia, Lieutenant General, Acting Deputy National Commissioner, Support Services. And this particular one now had a litany of panels. So if you start at page 453, it's different panels all the way to that last page.
Pardon me, Chair.
Yeah.
I forgot to switch it off.
Oh.
Apologies, thank you.
Thank you. We were at page 453. These are now the panels during the 2023 recruitment process or cycle. And it's got a litany of posts with different members constituting different panels. My interest lies at 454, page 454. That post 2302-3462 highlighted in yellow, that's what I call our post. And in 2023, that was the panel that was approved, led by General Khumalo, members General Lushaba, General Mulajana, yes, I am correct, and General Khan. And so the 2022 as well has got a list of approved panel members. So this seems to be the usual process that panels are put to some authority who decides whether or not the proposed panel is approved or not.
That's correct.
And the same process was followed in 2024, resulting in the appointment of Mrs. Mukwele. So would you agree that insofar as the issue of panel and constitution of panel that appointed Mrs. Mukwele, there is no concern there? Is there still a concern about that particular panel?
On the particular panel that we had concerns with,
Yes.
and as we know that General Khumalo can only put up a recommendation that these are the panel members, and its head office approves it.
Yes.
But when we look at the panel of Mukwele, we had concerns there because he selected those people, although he didn't approve him, those panel members, all right? But you can see from the recommendations of the panels that sent to head office for approval, those recommendations hardly change. If we look at all three of the advertisements and the recommendations from head office or the approval, nobody was removed from the panel and said, no, don't put this one, put that one. So that's the only thing, that only comment I have there, if you understand me, Commissioner.
I'm trying to understand because I wanted to clarify whether or not the constitution of the panel that appointed Mrs. Mukwele is an issue. Is there an issue as regards its legitimacy, that panel? Because I thought we had just established, because it was approved by seemingly the person who is mandated or empowered by SAPS to approve such. Once approved by that person, then there can be an issue about the panel unless the challenge is to the approval itself by the higher authority. But that doesn't seem to be your case. Yesterday, your challenge was to the constitution of the panel, and I just wanted to clarify that now that it's approved by, I think it's General Nkua this one time, is that a properly constituted panel, or are there still concerns that the commissioners should have regard to?
The panel is approved by head office.
Yes.
There's nothing more you can say about it.
Yes.
It's approved by head office. So when I say it's approved by head office, it means it's authorized. So the point that I wanted to make yesterday is that the panel was selected by, although it was not approved by him because he could not approve it, it was selected by him, it went to head office, it was approved. So that is an approved panel. That's it.
You said something about the panel not changing. I think you started that. You said, well, yeah, it was approved, but if you look at the three different panels constituted, they never change, and then you stopped at but. I think there's a point you wanted to make about